Hi there, thanks for joining me again. This video is about discussing the documentation that you need to provide when you file for a live-in caregiver application for permanent residency. Now, I've already done a video with regards to what you need to provide when you're trying to prove your employment, so definitely check out that video. But this video is more geared towards the other important and pertinent documentation. So things like your valid passport. So include your valid passport page with your data page, as well as all the stamps in your passport. This is important because it shows that you actually have been in Canada for 2 years and that you haven't traveled back and forth. Now, remember, you are allowed to have vacation time, 2 weeks. Other than that, you should have been in Canada working with your employer. So having those stamps or empty pages in your passport shows that you've always been in Canada. So that's important. Obviously, the other documentation is more geared towards your ID documents, such as birth certificate, marriage certificate, things like this, if that pertains to you. If you're in common law, then a common law declaration. Because when you were here in Canada working as a caregiver, obviously your family should have been outside of the country. And now you can include your children and your spouse in the application. You also want to provide documentation to prove the genuineness of your application for your spouse to apply and include him in the application. So include documents of how you maintain communication, pictures that you guys have together, if you have a child together, his or her birth certificate, and so forth. So prove the genuineness of your relationship. If it's a common law, you have to prove your common law relationship, so joint documentation is still needed. This is a little bit more difficult to prove, considering that if you are in Canada as a caregiver and your spouse is outside of Canada, well then perhaps you don't qualify under the definition of common law. But sometimes caregivers are inside Canada and they reside with their common law partner who is on a different status document. Well then, in that case, you can definitely include your common law partner. If you've been divorced before, then divorce certificates and so forth. The other documentation is in regards to medical clearance and police clearance. So really the fundamental documents is employment record documentation, which we've discussed in a previous video, ID documentation such as birth certificate, marriage certificate, passport data page, things like this, and then proof of your relationship documentation, whether it's common law or a spouse. The rest of the documents is just double checking your police clearance, your medical checkups, and so forth. Other than that, it's a relatively straightforward application. However, if you do have some questions about this application, give us a call. We're here to help. Thank you, and until next time.